You know, you guys, I've said this before, and I will more than likely continue to say it until the end of the season. In fact, I believe I started my last video about these guys saying the exact same thing, but you simply cannot tell me that there is a team that's gone through more of a roller coaster than the San Francisco 49ers in 2022. Because whether we're talking about the quarterback room, which has basically been a huge game of musical chairs this year due to injuries, the blockbuster midseason acquisition of CMC that has elevated this offense to new heights that their fans could have only dreamed of, and even the injuries in other areas of the team that continue to stack up as the weeks go on, the 49ers somehow just continue to look more dominant with each game that comes and goes. But how exactly San Francisco is continuing to do this, I don't think that most NFL fans will truly ever be able to wrap their head around it, so let's just get into it. One sec though, guys, if you haven't yet, don't forget to like the video if you do enjoy, subscribe, and turn on those notifications to never miss another NFL video. But before we go any further, today's video is brought to you by our friends at SeatGeek. Believe me, you guys, I've had SeatGeek myself for years now, and it is by far the easiest way to buy any type of tickets online. Whether you're looking for football, basketball, concerts, even festivals, SeatGeek will have you covered for almost anything you can think of. And the best part is with their amazing rating scale of 1 to 10 on any and all available seats for events, they're always working to make sure you get the best deal possible. And with SeatGeek having your back, they're also willing to hook you guys up even further with an extra $20 off your first purchase when you use our code DIGEST20 at checkout. Once again, that is code DIGEST20, so make sure to go down to the link in our bio to download the SeatGeek app today. Now, to get back on topic with the San Francisco 49ers, I would assume that most of you watching know, but the running joke regarding San Francisco over the last few years has been that no matter who is at the quarterback position, it is labeled as nothing more than a quote-unquote game manager within this offense. Although obviously this title was never really placed on Trey Lance due to the small sample size that we have seen from him so far, but instead this title was reserved for none other than Jimmy Garoppolo really through his entire tenure as a San Francisco 49er. And now, of course, with the man himself, Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy, not just stepping into this situation and playing well, but seemingly thriving so far through his first couple of games in this offense, which, if you don't consider the numbers he's putting up as phenomenal for his first rookie reps in the league, I guess we can just agree to disagree. Nonetheless though, with all of the quick success that Purdy has seen, you probably could have guessed yourself that the game manager jokes have returned and they're seemingly at an all-time high. And believe me, I can somewhat see what people might be trying to get at with saying this, considering how much this offense does positively cater to the quarterback position. But as it seems people are trying to insult the 49ers offense by saying this, it really just feels like a compliment to them above all else, especially with what Brock Purdy has showed us. And I know through the small sample size that we've seen from Brock Purdy, he hasn't necessarily been challenged to the greatest extent yet, and again, he hasn't been asked to do much, which is typically how this 49ers offense works. And to anyone that is making that point, I cannot respond to that in any more of a straightforward manner than simply saying, at least right now, it doesn't matter. Because even with the small amount of tasks that Kyle Shanahan is asking Brock Purdy to do on a game-to-game basis, he is executing them almost as perfectly as possible. I mean, he's seeming to make the correct read almost 90% of the time, he's hitting guys in stride when the air attack is actually needed, and what might be the most surprising and crucial factor of them all, he looks like he's been at the helm of this team for the last 2 or 3 years. And I mean, if it wasn't already obvious enough, just comparing the numbers from Brock Purdy's few starts so far this year to what Jimmy Garoppolo had been doing all season long on a per-game basis, it is quite literally like they haven't missed a single beat. But even though the quarterback position has taken up the majority of conversations regarding San Francisco over the last couple of weeks, we also definitely need to have a conversation about how this offense hasn't just continually been clicking through all of the injuries and roadblocks as the weeks have gone on, like I mentioned before, but instead they have been improving, and it's been by a pretty substantial margin. Because some of you guys might have already forgot about the beginning of this year when San Francisco had some pretty questionable losses on their resume just a couple of weeks into the season, and once again the narrative started to grow that if the offense was not going to be able to complement the historical output we were seeing on the defensive side of the ball that we are still seeing this far into the year, that Kyle Shanahan's seat as a head coach, which was already hot for some going into the year, was only going to get hotter as we approached the offseason. And well, ever since that rough start, this offense has completely turned in a new direction. They haven't looked back, and the numbers definitely show for it. Now, I'm also definitely not going to sit here and play dumb with you guys and not act like the Christian McCaffrey acquisition is one of the biggest reasons as to why we're seeing this turnaround, because in fact, the funny thing about this is, if you were to try to refer to CMC's averages and box score numbers to tell you the full story of his true impact on this offense, it would end up implying that it's not as great as you might have thought. But what so many people forgot about, because we haven't seen McCaffrey in this situation in so long, is how much of an impact, or even more so distraction, that he creates just by simply being on the field. Because yes, of course the idea of CMC being a viable run threat will always be in the back of the mind of opposing teams, and in fact it's been really interesting because the 49ers have not used CMC in this regard nearly as much as they obviously could, but instead they have been using him more consistently to make their air attack borderline unstoppable. And as I'm sure you all know, it's not like most modern NFL offenses with a deep threat. In fact, that could probably be considered the biggest cause for concern on this side of the ball, but instead with having weapons like Deebo Samuel, Brandon Aiyuk, George Kittle, even Jauan Jennings and Ray McCloud, who thrive in the short to mid-range game and also in yards after catch. But then on top of that, you add McCaffrey, that not only can be a viable checkdown option that defenses always have to worry about, but then we've also seen Shanahan consistently split him out wide in route running situations, which has happened more than I expected, but still, I'm not surprised. I'll just say that within this dual threat offense, while they don't have a quote-unquote deep threat on paper, whether you're talking about the quarterback or the wide receiver position, there's still obviously a pretty valid explanation as to how they produce so many big plays amongst all NFL teams and why they are so unpredictable for any opponent they match up with. And then, unlike the offense, to touch back on the defense, I don't think I need to do any convincing to you guys as to why this side of the ball for San Francisco is one of, if not the clear-cut best in the entire league. And I mean, if the numbers they've put up so far this year don't do it justice for you, I'm telling you, just watch one game and you will see that from all three levels on this side of the ball, they don't seem to be missing a single piece. Because from the front line in Eric Armstead and Nick Bosa, to the linebacker core in Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner, and even to the secondary with guys like Chavarius Ward, Jimmy Ward, and even Talanoa Hufanga, even with how much fun it's been to watch this offense continually evolve as the weeks have gone on, if San Francisco is going to end up hoisting the Lombardi by the end of the year, it will undoubtedly be because of their defensive dominance. But of course, you guys, as with everything else we discuss here on the channel, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Nonetheless though, with everything that we mentioned and discussed regarding the San Francisco 49ers, you guys know that I am extremely curious to hear what you have to think about their situation. So please be sure to let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts on everything you've seen from Brock Purdy so far as the starter for the 49ers? And also, as currently constructed with all things considered, how far do you have the 49ers going this year? And also, do you think they have what it takes to win it all? But again, you guys, if you haven't yet, don't forget to go down below and drop a like on the video if you did enjoy, and of course, subscribe while you're down there. We're going to continue to come out with brand new NFL content every single week around here, so just trust me, you do not want to miss it. But also, I just wanted to say thank you so much to each and every one of you out there for watching. I appreciate you all more than anything. You all know this, and I will see you guys in the next video.